Ah, excellent. MashaAllah. I'm not condoning the behavior. I'm just saying, nice to know you.
You're live now.
All right. Thank you. Okay. We are mostly guys. Okay. Today I'm representing the Western MSA. Right, look at that. Alhamdulillah. Okay, alhamdulillah. We can't hear you. Okay. Yeah. Hassan, they can't. Are you on the? You're not on the call yet, are you? Hassan, on the Zoom. 1 second, Ahmed, he's just joining in, okay? Okay. The rest of you who are online, just if you can join the call, inshallah, okay? Perfect. We are ready to go. Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah, thank you for coming today. I know it's end of the term, you have exams, assignments, MSA drama, everything to deal with all at once. So I appreciate you all coming out, whether it is in person or online, alhamdulillah. Is anybody trying to still get on, or can I get started? No? Get started? Okay, excellent. طيب. Easa alayhi salam, part 3. Make this full screen. Some is going to be review, the first few questions, and then we'll have, new stuff. The name of revelation given to Easa alayhi salam is the Torah, Psalms, the Gospel, Injil, or other. It should be an easy warm-up, inshallah. Famous last words. Correct answer is yes, it is the Injil. All right. In English, the Injil is known as the Gospel. Okay, very good. Potato is back, mashallah, first place. I think Potato was like here 2 weeks ago. Also won first place, mashallah. What are the disciples of Easa alayhi salam called in the Quran? Sahaba, Muhsinin, Hawariyin, or Muttaqeen? What are they called? The correct answer is they were called Hawariyin in the Quran. Hawariyin or Hawariyun, either way. Okay, very good. MashaAllah. Question number 3. Easa alayhi salam is frequently referred in the Quran as Easa the son of Maryam, the Prophet of Allah, friend of Allah, Easa the grandson of Imran. The correct answer is Easa the son of Maryam, Easa ibn Maryam. That is a very frequent occurrence. Anybody remember the number of times he's called that? 49. No problem. If I had candy and someone gave me the correct answer, I would have given them the whole bag. All right. Question number 4. The disciples requested that Easa alayhi salam bring them food from the sky. True or false? That is true. إذ قال الحواريون يا عيسى ابن مريم هل يستطيع ربك أن ينزل علينا مائدة من السماء. The disciples requested that, and that is correct. Okay, this is important because we believe that the Last Supper was in the context of like a miracle, in the context not just as a farewell lunch or something, but it was actually a miracle that the disciples wanted to see. All right, question 5. Where is the Last Supper mentioned in the Quran? Surah Al Imran, Surah Ma'idah, Surah Mulk, and Surah Maryam. Your favorite question. The correct answer is Surah Ma'idah. Excellent, mashallah. All right, more of this question because I know you love this question. Potato has fallen to 3rd place. Sister Isra, mashallah, 1st place. The miraculous birth of Easa alayhi salam is mentioned in which surah? See, the birth has to be given by the mother, yes? And that's why Surah Maryam, that's where it is. Okay, very good, alhamdulillah. Oh no, potato fell from the top 5. Number 7. His last moments and raising up are mentioned in. I'm going to help you sharpen your guessing game for the exams, inshallah. Correct answer is Surah Al-Imran. Excellent. How many of you guessed that correctly? MashaAllah, look at this. We are honest, full marks for honesty, alhamdulillah. All right, next question. Potato's back. Allahu Akbar. What is the word for the Last Supper in the Quran? Ma'idah, Ta'am, Mansaf, or Mandi? Ma'idah is correct. The table spread. All right? Not Mansaf, even if you like it, or Mandi if you like it. Not Ta'am, just food. It is actually Ma'idah. Okay. Can you unmute Hassan, the Zoom call, please? Can you unmute it from? Perfect. Okay, let me mute it here. Oh, hold on. Audio. Okay, perfect. Arham and the rest, you can hear me, right? Sorry, folks, 1 second. Yes. All right. Okay. Sister Amina has risen up to number 4. Question 9. Isa alayhi salam will return back to the earth. True or false? True. That's what we believe. He's going to be back. Do the Christians believe this as well? They do, actually. Isn't that interesting? Okay. And the last question. Isa alayhi salam's return is not mentioned in the Quran. Return back to earth. Not mentioned in the Quran. The correct answer is false. It is actually, in fact, mentioned in the Quran, which is what we will see today. MashaAllah, the podium, 3rd place, Sister Amina. MashaAllah, well done. 2nd place, Sister Isra. Who's Sister Isra? Right there. Excellent, MashaAllah. 1st place, Potato. S and H. Allah. Who's S and H? MashaAllah. Excellent. Great job, you all. And Potato is not even in top 5. I am disappointed. All right. Thank you all for participating in that. Alhamdulillah. Let's go to the return of Isa, right? The topic that we're doing today is the return of Isa alayhi salam. Let me make this bigger. Duplicate. Right. So the return of Isa alayhi salam is what we will talk about when he comes back. There's a lot of detail. If you open like Sahih Muslim is a book of Hadith, you will find there is like a whole chapter that talks about the last hour, right? The Day of Judgment. And a lot of that chapter talks about what happens during the last moments on earth, the last, few years on earth, maybe the last century on earth. And that, of course, is very, very closely related to what happened with Isa alayhi salam. There are a lot of ahadith, and our goal is not to do an exhaustive study. I'll give you like an overview, inshallah, and then maybe mention a few things here and there. Okay, but we will talk about crucifixion, the hanging someone up on a cross, and the claim that Isa alayhi salam, that was the case with him. And we will discuss the differences between the Quran's narrative and the biblical narrative. And lastly, next week we will do like the open QA. You have the spreadsheet. You can fill that out. Arham, is the spreadsheet, has that been circulated? Arham, not yet. Very soon, inshallah. Okay, excellent. So there's like a spreadsheet. You can ask whatever question you like anonymously, and I will then look it up and give you the answers. And I appreciate you doing that, because then it gives me some time to look up the answers and give you a good, concise answer, inshallah. Okay. Quick recap, the miraculous birth was mentioned in Surah Maryam, the life and message was mentioned in Surah Ali Imran, the last moments and raising up to the sky also in Surah Ali Imran, ayah 52 to 60. The crucifixion was talked about in Surah Nisa. And also we'll talk about the prophecy of him coming back in Surah Nisa as well in a moment. The scene from the Day of Judgment, the epic scene where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks Isa alayhi salam, did you tell the people to worship me? And of course he says no, and then he makes dua for the people who disobeyed him and worshipped him. And of course his return is mentioned in Surah 43, Surah Zukhruf. Let's talk about the return of Isa from Surah Nisa. We have done these ayat before. We talked about the crucifixion from this angle before. We have put to death the Messiah, Jesus, the son of Mary, the messenger of God. They did not kill him, nor did they crucify him, but it only seemed to them as if it had been done so. And those who differ in this matter are in doubt concerning it. They have no definitive knowledge about it, but only follow mere conjecture. وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ يَقِينًا. They certainly did not kill him. God raised him towards himself, and God is almighty and wise. We talked about this. Yes, you remember that? The crucifixion, there was somebody on the cross, but it wasn't Isa. Okay, that was not Isa. It seemed to the people that it was Isa, and in fact, there isn't any clear-cut proof that that was Isa, and we will actually explore this more today. But the interesting part is ayah number 159. Right? This is ayah 158. Ayah 159 makes a very interesting claim. وَإِن مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ إِلَّا لَيُؤْمِنَنَّ بِهِ قَبْلَ مَوْتِهِ. There is none among the people of the book but will believe in it before his death. And on the day of resurrection, he shall be a witness against them. Okay? What is this ayah referring to? Okay? What this ayah is referring to is every single person in who is a people from the people of the book, that is the Jews and the Christians, they will all believe in Isa before his death. All right. What does that mean? It means the following. It means that when Isa alayhi salam comes back, that's when everybody who was a Jew or a Christian will believe in Isa as the Prophet of Allah. Whoever lives at that point, whoever does not become an adversary to Isa, who accepts Isa alayhi salam for who he is, when Isa dies, all of those people would have accepted him as the Prophet of God. This is a prophecy, right? This hasn't happened yet. That's why today you still have Christians as the largest religion, Jews as not the largest, but a fairly significant, fairly powerful religious group, right? But the Quran is prophesying that before Isa dies, قَبْلَ مَوْتِهِ, before he dies and is buried in the ground, everybody who used to believe in him as either a son of God or used to believe in him as like an imposter, whoever that may be, as long as did not become his adversaries and fight him, they will actually end up believing in him. And it's easy to see why, because when he comes back, he will tell the people, I am not the son of God. قَالَ إِنِّي عَبْدُ اللَّهِ. He will say, I'm the slave of God. I'm the messenger of God who was given the book before the Prophet ﷺ. Right? So this is a prophecy that the Quran is making about the return of Isa. See, there is this implicit reference to his return in this prophecy, because this is not something that has happened yet, and the only way it can happen, قَبْلَ مَوْتِهِ, before his death, right, is after his return. Linguistically, also the word used is maut. Maut is, in this context, referring to the actual death, not being someone put to sleep. So that gives credence to that view even further. Looking at Surah Zukhruf, Surah 43, similar things are mentioned. وَلَمَّا ضُرِبَ ابْنُ مَرْيَمَ مَثَلًا إِذَا قَوْمُكَ مِنْهُ يَصِدُّونَ. I'm going to give you the context of what this means in a second, but just stay with me. When Jesus, the son of Mary, is held up as an example, your people raise an outcry on this. Your people here is the people of Makkah, the people of Quraysh. And your here is the Prophet ﷺ. Okay? The Quran is saying when Isa is mentioned, O Prophet, your people raise an outcry. Okay? In another meaning of an outcry, yasiddun, is they start laughing. They start laughing. Why? قالوا أآلهتنا خير أآلهتنا خير أم هو? Are our gods better or him? ما ضربوه لك إلا جدلا. They cite him only to challenge you. بل هم قوم خصيمون. They are a contentious people. I'll explain what this means in a second. He was a servant we favored and made him an example for the children of Israel. And if we had so wished, we would have appointed angels in exchange for you to succeed you on the earth. And he is the sign of the hour. وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ. You see this? Right? He is a sign of the hour. Meaning, his return is a sign that the day of judgment is imminent. It's about to come. That's what the Quran is saying. Another prophecy from the Quran, but also not just a prophecy, it is actually stating that Isa alayhi salam explicitly will return back to earth. Okay? And have no doubt about it. فَلَا تَمْتَرُنَّ بِهَا وَاتَّبِعُونَ. But follow me, i.e. follow the Prophet ﷺ. This is a straight path. Now, what is the context? I'm going to read to you a little bit of the Arabic and then explain to you what that means. Okay? The context of this is وَلَمَّا ضُرِبَ ابْنُ مَرْيَمَ مَثَلًا. It says that حين نزل قوله تعالى إنكم وما تعبدون من دون الله حصب جهنم قال المشركون رضينا أن تكون آلهتنا مع عيسى لأنه عبد من دون الله. Okay, here's what happened. The Prophet ﷺ, there's an ayah in the Quran. In fact, I'll show you this ayah if I can go to it. There's an ayah in the Quran in Surah number 20. Surah number 21, Surah Anbiya. So this thing is being very hard. All right. This ayah number 98, Surah number 21. إنكم وما تعبدون من دون الله حصب جهنم أنتم لها واردون. You and what you worship instead of God will be fuel for hell. To it you shall all come. Of course, this is talking about the people who have rejected Allah. Of course, right? It's not talking about someone who was just, in a situation where they never really considered faith or are still considering faith. It is actually talking about someone who has outright rejected it and accepted that as the way of their life. Okay? So when this ayah was revealed, the people of Quraysh said something to the Prophet. They said, hey, isn't Isa also worshipped besides Allah? If he's worshipped besides Allah, that means he's going to be in the fire of hell with us. Ha 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 ha. Okay? That's what the statement, إِذَا قَوْمُكَ مِنْهُ يَصِدُّونَ. They are all laughing at what the Prophet ﷺ would say. Right? Whenever the Prophet would mention Isa, look at the ayah, right? The ayah mentions, when Isa is held up as an example, your people raise an outcry, or another better translation would be that they start laughing. They're like, oh, you see, you think that we will be in hellfire? You think that our gods will be in hellfire? Guess who also is going to be in hellfire? Isa. Ha ha ha. And this is what they would do. As the Quran says, مَا ضَرَبُوهُ لَكَ إِلَّا جَدَلًا. They only cite him to challenge you. They are a contentious people. This is a classic misdirection. You know what a misdirection is? Like the conversation is going this way, and you mention something random, and it's completely taken to the side. And the point that was being made originally is lost. This is very, very, very common in media. This is a very classic media technique. If you are trying to make someone look foolish in an interview, that's what you do. You try to misdirect them, right? If you see interviews at Fox News, some brother comes with a kufi and he is being interrogated. It's all like misdirections, right? And someone who holds their own at that time, mashallah, does a great job. It's very difficult to hold your own in that moment. So this was a classic misdirection from the people of Quraysh. The Quran actually addresses this, right? إِنَّ الَّذِينَ سَبَقَتْ لَهُم مِّنَّ الْحُسْنَى أُولَٰئِكَ عَنْهَا مُبْعَدُونَ. If they had only read the whole passage, those who have been promised a good reward with us will be kept far away from hell. لَا يَسْمَعُونَ حَسِيسَهَا. They shall not hear the slightest sound of it, and they shall forever abide in a state of bliss among everything their souls have desired. Okay? The point is this, the Quran is saying whoever that you, Quraysh, worship, and whoever dies worshipping these idols is going to be punished in this state, in the fire of hell. Okay? All of you together, antum laha waridun, that is certain to happen and pass. And anybody who's worshipped like a prophet or an angel that is not, of course, condoned by that prophet itself or condoned by the religion, they are not part of this group. Okay? They are min al-husna, promised a good reward. They are already promised Jannah. And they are mub'adun, they are far, far removed from the fire of hell. So this is something that the Quran lays out. These people are not included in the conversation. This conversation, not applicable to them. You see that? Now, interestingly, the people of Makkah would make this interesting misdirection to try to take away from the Prophet's point, which was that you should not be worshipping anything but Allah or anyone but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that would be like something that would be lost on the people. When this kind of a fallacy would be mentioned and people start laughing, and next thing you know, the point is lost. You see what happened in the passage, right? So that's the context of the ayah. And of course, the Quran says that they are doing this, مَا ضَرَبُوهُ لَكَ إِلَّا جَدَلًا. This is خُصُومَ بِالْبَاطِلِ لِعِلْمِهِمْ أَنَّ مَا لِغَيْرِ الْعَاقِلِ فَلَا يَتَنَاوَلُ Easa alayhi salam. Right? Very interesting point. Like, even linguistically, Easa doesn't fit what the ayah is saying. إِنَّكُمْ وَمَا تَعْبُدُونَ. You and what you worship, not you and who you worship. Right? Even linguistically, they know that they're not, what they're saying doesn't make sense. But they're saying that as a misdirection. This is what often you will find if you are having a intelligent and difficult conversation with somebody about anything important, and they are not able to bring facts to refute you, or to have a way to stand their ground. Often, it will turn into either like an ad hominem attack on you, or it could just turn into a misdirection. Well, what about this? What about that? Has nothing to do with the conversation. Has nothing to do with the conversation. Easa is not even included in the ayah. Why are you bringing him up? Right? So this is something interesting to consider, how the Quran actually very eloquently speaks about conversation, how people use tricks to make the conversation go sideways. Now, وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ, the day of judgment, its imminent nature is تُعْلَمْ بِنُزُولِهِ. It's known when Easa returns. You see? So that is Easa alayhi salam and his return in the Quran. There's a timeline to his return. Many things will happen around that time. Yes? Okay. How many of you have heard of the Dajjal? I think all of you have, mashallah, very good. First will be Dajjal, he will come. Okay? And he will be a tyrant, and he will very clearly have a feature on his face. The abnormal feature on his face is that he would have obviously two eyes, but one of them is not functioning. Okay? One of them would not be functioning, only one will be functioning. And there is clearly written between the two eyes, like somewhere over here, kafara, okay? Signifying the root of the word kafir, right? Very clear that that is what is going to be his appearance. It's not like an ambiguous situation. But he will come and he will be given special powers by Allah, and he will be using that to test the people. And then his test is so severe that people will abandon faith. Even like the strongest people will abandon faith in the face of the trial of the Dajjal. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send Easa alayhi salam back, and he will return, as the hadith says, carried on the wings of angels. Okay? And he will come to a mosque in Damascus. Okay, and when he returns, he will assume the role of the imam. When he comes, he will assume the role of the imam of the community. He will not come as the prophet of God anymore. He will come as the imam of the Muslims. And then at the hands of Easa alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will destroy Dajjal. But as Dajjal is destroyed, one, fitna averted, the next one will be unleashed. The unleashing of Ya'juj and Ma'juj. Ya'juj and Ma'juj in the Bible are referred to as Gog and Magog. Have you heard of that? Good, okay, alhamdulillah. So that is not exactly, I guess, analogous, because sometimes the Bible has things that we cannot verify to be true, but it is even mentioned in the Bible in that same context. Tayyib. Ya'juj and Ma'juj will come, and it is said that they will be, like the Quran says, وَهُمْ فِي كُلِّ حَدَمٍ يَنْسِلُونَ. They are going to come out of every valley. They will flood the earth, literally, and they will drink the rivers dry. Okay? These are almost unbelievable things that will happen. But do you know why they're all happening at this time? Because the most unbelievable thing is about to happen. The Day of Judgment is about to start. Okay? So these things all happening one after the other is because of the nearness to the Day of Judgment. Okay? Now, they are unleashed, they wreak havoc on the earth, but then Isa alayhi salam makes dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to get rid of them. Unlike the Dajjal, who he actually pursued and killed, Ya'juj and Ma'juj is just, they're they've been some big beast, right, that they cannot even tackle. Yes? So Isa alayhi salam makes dua, he seeks refuge with the believers, they all hide somewhere, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroys all of the Ya'juj and Ma'juj with like a disease or a plague, something similar to that. And then finally, the earth is rid of all corruption. All corruption. All types of evil from earth has been removed for a period of few years. And Isa rules as the ruler of the Muslims for those years. And then every believer dies. Every believer dies. And then what's left on the earth is the worst of the people. The people who will then witness the beginning of the Day of Judgment. The reason why all the believers die is the earth ends, as the Prophet said, part of one of the prophecies of the last day is the last hour will be established. وَعَلَى الْأَرْضِ شِرَارُ النَّاسِ. The worst of mankind will be on earth. Okay? So that is the timeline roughly. And there's a lot of details, as I mentioned. Sahih Muslim, the book of Hadith, has so many narrations about Isa alayhi salam. And the end of times themselves have a lot of details, a lot of narrations. Some are extremely strong, some are a little weak in its authenticity. But the general timeline is this, and the bigger picture point is these are all outstanding, almost unimaginable events that will take place because the end of the world is imminent. And they will all take place one after the other until the last hour, until the Day of Judgment is established. That is the timeline. Wallahu alam. We'll take, I have the last part of this, which is, if I can only click this, mashallah, crucifixion, right? The prophecy of the Quran versus the prophecy of the Bible. Very interesting. Okay, did you notice the little cute little thing that the guy did here in the video? Anybody notice it? Yes. Look, he said crucifixion, like fiction as in fact. Did you notice that too, Qais? Right? Did you get it? Excellent, mashallah. There was a Sheikh Didat. Anybody heard of Sheikh Didat? Ahmad Didat, right? So Sheikh Ahmad Didat made this famous. This was like his play on words, crucifixion or crucifixion. Okay, and ever since I have read that article or heard that lecture, I've always spelt it this way. That's in my mind the default spelling. So I was glad that I was corrected by Microsoft PowerPoint. And then this right here is the the interesting one, interesting spelling right there. Anyway, this is a video. We'll watch this, but before we watch this, let's do Any questions about the Nuzul Isa, the return of Isa, the timeline that I mentioned? We will watch this video in a second. Let's do the questions about that previously. Arham, are you with me here? Not cooperating, sorry. All right, Arham is here. Arham is sending me direct messages. Arham, what's up with that? All right. Questions, please. So I'm laughing at the question. It's like not gonna. Sorry. Yes. 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 Excellent. So there is, when a person dies, their judgment day or their next life has begun. Okay? The Prophet ﷺ was once with the Sahaba. The question that Qais is asking is that, I thought when you die, your judgment day begins. Yes? So the answer is, the Prophet ﷺ was once sitting with a bunch of Sahaba, and someone asked him that question, when is the day of judgment? And he said, your day of judgment is earlier than that person's day of judgment. And that person that the Prophet pointed to was a young person. Okay? What he was alluding to was that once you die, your afterlife has begun. Your afterlife begins by what's called the state of Barazakh. The Barazakh is a place where our souls go to, our bodies go in the ground. Okay? Or wherever, maybe someone was lost at sea or something. May Allah protect us from that. But our bodies are buried wherever they might be, and our souls are taken to the Barzakh. That's where the questioning of the grave happens. That's where a person will see a preview of Jannah or Jahannam. That's where all those ahadith are. That's what they're referring to. Then when all of these things have happened on earth, and finally the day of judgment starts, before on earth, right? So the Quran says, فَإِذَا نُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ there's the فَصَعِقَ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا مَنْ شَاءَ اللَّهِ. When the first trumpet is blown by the angel Israfil, everybody who's on earth will die. And everything that's in the sky will die. Even Jibreel alayhi salam. Everything except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be vanished. Then the second trumpet is blown. ثُمَّ نُفِخَ فِيهِ أُخْرَى فَإِذَا هُمْ قِيَامٌ يَنظُرُونَ. And that's when everybody will be brought back to life. Everybody whose body was buried in the earth, wherever it was buried, will be recreated, and their soul from the barzakh reunited with them. وَإِذَا النُّفُوسُ زُوِّجَتْ. You know the surah إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُبِرَتْ, right, in the 30th juz? It references this part. وَإِذَا النُّفُوسُ زُوِّجَتْ. When this body and the soul come together. That is the resurrection. And that's when the day of judgment begins. That's when the chaos of the day of judgment starts to happen. People will say, what is happening here? Who woke us up? قَالُوا يَا وَيْلَنَا مَنْ بَعَثَنَا مِنْ مَرْقَدِنَا. Who woke us up from our sleep? People will say. That's when people will be walking around as if they're drunk, but they're not drunk. That's when people will, disown their family members. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell the Prophet will go and ask Allah's permission to start the judgment process. And that's when everybody will be quiet. And individuals will be held accountable, literally one by one by one. You see? That is the brief overview, right? But the person's, an individual's last life or next life begins at their death. When their soul goes to the barzakh, and the day of judgment begins when the soul and body are reunited again. Does that make sense, Qais? Of course. No, this is not on earth. This is in the next life. This is in the ghaib. The earth is not going to be the place, whether it's heaven or hell. The earth will be the place where will be gathered for our final accountability, and then it is in another place. What that is part of the unseen, the ghaib, right? We can't speculate about that, but it's not on earth. That's a Christian concept, by the way, right? So we're told that there is a bridge that everybody has to pass, right? This is mentioned in the Quran itself, right? وَإِن مِّنكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا, passing over this bridge underneath which is the fire of hell, and across the bridge is paradise. So we pass that and we arrive at paradise, and how you pass it is in sync with, or is in the same way as you lived your life. If you lived a decent life, a good life, an upright life, then you will pass it like like lightning, or like a fast horse, or like a fast wind, right? So this is that. Now, what exactly is that place? We are not allowed to speculate because we don't know the unseen, right? The unseen, al-ghaib, is outside our ability and our boundaries of knowledge, okay? But we know for a fact it's not on the earth, because we know for a fact today that heaven and hell both exist in the al-ghaib, okay? There's references in the Quran to it all the time, okay? But it is not on the earth, wallahu alam. Does that make sense? Great questions, guys. Sisters, questions. Sister Isra. They are a massive tribe. Yes, the name of Ya'juj and Ma'juj is the name of the tribe. Gog and Magog. Yeah. That is really a very interesting question. It's a great question. It could become speculative, so I don't want to be that, right? But in reality, this is, in my opinion, this is also al-ghaib. Whatever the Prophet ﷺ mentions about where they are is part of the unseen. Because that aspect of the unseen, anything on earth, the way we know it can be discovered, right? You can go and find it in a way, right? If the Prophet is mentioning something like this, he's referencing something that is in the unseen, and wallahu alam, they are also in the unseen, right? Does that answer your question, Sister Isra? Excellent. Brothers, or this, what was your name? Abdul Rahman. Yeah, Ya'juj and Ma'juj, yes. I mean, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of narrations, but the one that is in Sahih Muslim, like the authentic one, references that they will be killed by like a disease, like a worm that would, that would kill them, so to say. Yes. Yes. Excellent question, Abdul Rahman. So these matters, the matters of the unseen, right, and the what happens in the end of time is still unseen, right? This is al-ghaib, okay? So we take the matters of the unseen in the most authentic way, what the Quran mentions and what the Prophet ﷺ authentically stated. And oftentimes what he states authentically has an overlap or a reference in the Quran, okay? The Quran would at least reference that, if not explicitly say it. That is what we focus our attention on. Questions, sisters? Sister Salah? So the way they would impact is like, this is someone that will, these are groups of people that will overrun the earth. So they will kill anything in their way, okay? And they will consume, well, I mean, if you're alive at that time, I don't think that would be the case. But if a person is dead, they're dead, right? They've already passed, alhamdulillah. But if they're alive, the believers will band together with Easa alayhi salam. And Isa alayhi salam will take the believers to a place where they can be safe from the Ya'juj and Ma'juj, kind of like hide from them, until they have done like all the destruction that they have unleashed, until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends the disease upon them that kills them. Okay? That is the basic information about it, right? The details are very numerous about how it happens. And as I mentioned, a lot of these details, it goes between extremely authentic to extremely weak, right? And we focus largely, the general big picture point of this is that these are very, very strange and very difficult times, all taking place one after the other before the Day of Judgment. And the person who is there to guide us through all that is none other than Isa, right? That's how powerful these things are, that Isa comes back to guide the Muslims through these tough times. Does that make sense? Question, young man. Yes. What was the test? No. So, Dajjal, his appearance, the Prophet has described that one of his eyes is, he doesn't see from it, and it's like a grape, meaning that it's, he doesn't. It's not something that, it's not like the other eye that has a pupil and then the white part. Okay, it's all like one color, something that he's blind out of. Okay, and he's described how there is something on his forehead that clearly spells out kafara. Maybe it's like a sign, maybe it's like a imprint, whatever that is, we don't know, but there's something clearly spelling that out. The Prophet has described his features, describes what he does. He's going to do this, he's going to do that, he's going to ask this person this, he's going to put this person to death, he's going to wake them up again from death. The Prophet has described all those things to tell us that this guy is coming. This guy is coming. And when he comes, run and hide. Wait for Isa. That's basically what the Prophet said. Go hide until Isa alayhi salam comes back. Okay? Great question. Sisters, questions? No questions, sisters, right? Ali, I know I'm alternating, right? So. What is this question? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Correct. In Surah Kahf, right, Dhul Qarnayn goes and seals up a place where Ya'juj and Ma'juj are, right? It's on earth. Dhul Qarnayn is not like somewhere else, right? So it is on earth. Now, the reality of it on earth, how are they in the way they are on earth? We take it to be literal, right? But how does their reality manifest itself? That is al-ghaib. Okay? And again, these are, as I said, the whole point of this is they're all end of time occurrences. And each of them more difficult than the previous, and each of them more extreme than the previous, right? So how its reality manifests itself, that's al-ghaib. But we know they're on the earth. We know the Prophet ﷺ met them literally. The Quran is talking about them literally. It's not like a figure of speech for like, I don't know, like something else, right? It's not like a figure of speech for like, I don't know, like some virus spreading around the earth. We don't believe that, right? It's literal. How it becomes literal, that is al-ghaib. Does that make sense? Inshallah. Perfect. The Mahdi is from the lineage of the Prophet ﷺ. He will actually be there before Isa, and he will hand over the leadership to Isa when Isa arrives. You can say like he kind of sets up Isa alayhi salam to be like to take over, right? But he comes, he unites the Muslims. He comes and his arrival is like the Muslims are in chaos, like they are today, mashallah. And then his arrival is like the unifying moment for the Muslims to come together. And then Isa comes. Right? And then the Dajjal comes, Mahdi is still around, but he hides with the believers until Isa comes, and that's when he takes over. Wallahu alam. Questions? Hamza. Excellent question. So it's not like I just gave you like a piece of the timeline. Other instances are mentioned, like a animal that comes out that speaks to people. We don't know where it fits in the timeline. Right? It's not mentioned as like sequential events. These though are sequential. Mahdi, Dajjal, Isa, Yajuj, Majuj, they're all sequentially mentioned in the hadith, and that's why we take them as such. I'm not laughing at you, Hamza. The questions are hilarious. Okay? Who was asking these questions? Stop making us laugh. Yes, Abdurrahman. Correct. Is this your question? All right. Oh, your question is not which country makes the best food? Someone is asking this question. Well, it depends on which country you're from. Yes. Yeah. So can we just go through the questions if your question is there? If you don't mind. All right, great. Sister's question before I just read these. I really want to show you this video. Please, this video is great. It's worth your time. Okay, please. Okay, alhamdulillah. Eggnog halal. How about we keep this one for the next time? Arham, are you with me? Arham. Yes, Arham is there. Arham's going to send me a private message or direct message again. Yeah, Sheikh. Okay, Arham, just bank that question. Don't check it off, please, or like copy paste it into that spreadsheet, please. Jazakallah khair. 3 witr of Isha, also please bank it because I want to answer the questions about this one. Thank you, Arham. MashaAllah, you're clutch, MashaAllah. You're like Tim Duncan, banking everything. You got that reference, good for you. 3 witr fard, also please bank that question. The belly button pierce, also bank that question. Very interesting question. Okay. Music permissible, also bank that question. Holy moly, we're setting up for a fun last session, okay? Does LMM sell Qur'ans? We're not supposed to sell the Qur'an. We sell a mushaf, a copy of the Qur'an. Key difference. It's a very key difference. If you're selling the Qur'an, that means you're like saying, like I will manipulate the text for what you want, for money. That's not what we do. We sell a copy of the Qur'an. I know that's what you meant. We don't sell a copy of the Qur'an, but you're free to take one from the library, inshallah. Okay. Will Prophet Isa ﷺ get married when he's back? There are a hadith that reference that he will get married and live a normal life. Wallahu a'lam. Which is worse, not believing an ambiguous hadith that turns out to be true, or believe in an ambiguous hadith that turns out to be false? That's a very interesting question, Rayan. I don't think it's a question of what's better or worse. Okay? The ambiguous nature of the wording of the Prophet is not to mislead. When the Prophet says something open-endedly, right, the interpretation of his open-ended statement becomes apparent with time. Classic example, the Hadith of Jubilee. When the Prophet said, أَن تَرَى الْحُفَاةَ الْعُرَاءَ الْعَالَ يَتَطَاوَلُونَ فِي الرِّيَاعَ الشَّاءَ يَتَطَاوَلُونَ فِي الْبُنْيَانِ. You will see destitute, barefoot, naked shepherds competing in building tall buildings. The people did not understand when the Prophet said that what he meant. Okay? But with the passage of time, what he actually was saying became obvious. So the ambiguous nature of what he says in prophecies is not to say that he isn't giving us the complete information. It is actually that the interpretation becomes clearer and clearer with time. And the way we understand a hadith is we don't look at necessarily like the wording to say this wording makes sense or not. There is a place for that, right? If the wording contradicts the Quran, then we say that the isnad is also not acceptable. But largely we look at the isnad, the chain of narrators. Wallahu alam. I hope that made sense, Ya Rayan. For the Dajjal, I heard that the sign on his head is not seen except by a believer. That is also correct. Yes, that sign is seen or discerned by a believer. How that manifests itself is to be seen. Okay, but that is also, Allahu Alam, correct. Which prayer is most valuable? I'm going to go Tom Brady on this, the next one. All of them are valuable. The fard prayer is the most. Someone got that reference? Good for you. Okay. He was asked about which ring is his most favorite. He's like, the next one. Okay. All right. So which prayer is the most valuable? The next one that's coming up. Okay. They're all valuable. The fard prayer. I read some hadith that fire, hellfire, okay, is placed under the seventh earth. As Muslims, we believe in that. No, we don't believe that it's under the seventh earth or under the earth. This is part of al-ghaib. It is a different dimension, if you like to think of it that way. Thank you for clarifying that. In terms of Ya'juj and Ma'juj, isn't there a reference to them about in Surah Kahf? Correct, there is a reference to them in Surah Kahf, as Ali asked. The reference is a real, literal reference. We accept that as a literal thing. They were encountered by that people that Dhul Qarnayn met, and he put up a wall to, bar them. But how their end of times reality manifests, that's part of al-ghaib. That's what I was referencing. Wallahu alam. Which country makes the best food? That's an interesting question. I guess it depends on where you are from. My opinion, I'm biased. Clearly, I'm biased. Yes. So my family is originally from Delhi, right? Right. So then they migrated from Delhi to Karachi. So that's a culture of people who are called Delhiwala, right? People who are from Delhi. So I biasly believe that that's the best type of cuisine. As you can see, my bias is very apparent. But I also really like Delhi meats as well. So like the Jewish community has done well with that. Don't hurt me, huh? I don't know about London. Can something that is seen as a blessing from the outside but drives you away from Allah actually a punishment, and vice versa? Rayyan, this is a very theoretical question, man. I don't know what to make of this. Yes. Yes. So I think the way to look at it is a person's like difficulties in life and pleasures of life are like they're it's not it's not a sign that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you or hates you. Right. So you can say that, right? A hardship that wakes you up, right, to the reality of life and brings you closer to Allah definitely is a blessing. But that doesn't mean we ask for hardships, right? The Prophet's uncle asked him, Abbas asked him, "Oh Rasulullah, what should I ask for?" The Prophet said, "Oh Abbas, oh uncle of the Prophet, ask Allah for good health and well-being. Salillah al-afwa wal-afiyah. Ask Allah for blessings and good health." Meaning we don't ask Allah for difficulties, but if difficulties are sent our way, we try our best to be patient and we turn to Allah for dua. We don't see difficulties as Allah's punishment upon us. We see them as like a reminder, as a wake-up call. We see them as a way to, as an opportunity for forgiveness of our sins, an opportunity to raise our levels in paradise, not anything else. So I think maybe that's a better way to say it, Rayyan. But perhaps next time you can ask it in a more particular way, inshallah. I heard that farm chicken that is slaughtered in Ontario is halal. Is that true? I don't know. I don't live on a farm. If it says halal on the package, you are good to assume it's halal without worrying too much about it. If it doesn't say halal on the package, then it's not dhabiha halal, and then you are free to make up your mind appropriately about it. Is mortgage halal? Let's take this for next time. Is TikTok permissible in Islam? I don't know if there's an ayah in the Quran that inna TikTok, halal or haram. I don't know if that ayah exists. It doesn't exist. Okay. This is not there. It's not like these are tools. Yes, these are tools. If a tool is used for good, it's okay. If a tool is used for bad, it's not okay, right? That's a very simple idea. You can use the browser to browse and just chill or do something good, right? Forget doing something good. You can just do something that's non-haram. And you can use the browser to go watch something that is completely haram. It's how you use it. I don't know if there's certain social media platforms that are more inclined towards a shamelessness, right? An indecency, okay? More than others. I remember deactivating my Snapchat account, right? Because I always, when I would open it, it would like show me the feeds of like the suggested feed was always like, you know, some guy's life, or who is this person dating, and it's like I don't really care, and I don't really want to know about this either, right? Even if I did care for that person, I don't want to know about this stuff, okay? Because oftentimes, if not always, that was tied to something that was indecent. So I felt for myself personally that I don't want to be on this platform, okay? So this is a personal choice for you to make, but you, like the Prophet said, istafti qalbak, ask your heart, is this something that is making you consume indecent, shameless content? Is it encouraging you to look at others in a more, I guess, resentful way? Like you resent their life and you hate your life because what you have seen of it. And then you make a decision for yourself, Wallahu a'lam. But it itself is just a tool, and I would say buyer beware. Okay? My teacher told me that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is found everywhere. That is not correct. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not everywhere. That is not a Muslim belief. That is a very extreme, like fringe belief that all Orthodox Sunni Muslims reject. I believe that's, you know, some mystical elements of Jews and some mystical Christians believe that too, but we outright reject that. Because the Quran says very explicitly, Ar-Rahmanu ala al-arsh istawa. Allah is established upon His throne. His throne is detached from His creation. If you remember, I mentioned to you previously, right? When we spoke about how God can't have a son. If God has a son, the essence of God is manifested in His creation. How is He separate from the creation? And Him not being separate from the creation is a problem, because then how can He create the creation while being part of it? You see? It leads to logical fallacies. But of course, the reason why we believe that is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said it Himself, that He is upon the throne established. Yes, Abdurrahman. Oh, okay. Oh, that's okay, Abdurrahman. You can write a question that way. So it's not a problem. I'm not judging you. Don't worry. In Jannah, men are going to be rewarded with hurs. What are we going to be? What are women going to be rewarded with? Allahu Akbar. All right. How about we bank this one, Ya Arham? I will answer it. I'm just asking you to bank it, inshallah. Permissible for a man to shave his beard? Bank that question as well. What I meant by ambiguous hadith are Hasan, not Sahih. So, Rayan, they're not ambiguous, they're weak. Ambiguous is about the meaning. The strength is about authenticity. Meaning, what's the probability the Prophet said it? If the probability is high, that's Sahih. The probability is not so high, it's Hasan. If the probability is very low, it's Da'if. If the probability is zero, it's made up. Mawdu'. So that is what we are referring to. Hadith are, so that is that. Smoking haram. Bank that question. Yeah, Arham. Arham, are you banking this all? MashaAllah, today you are in full on Tim Duncan mode. If everything is predetermined and planned by Allah, why are we stressing? With life, is there a dua that can help this issue? Allahu Akbar. There is a dua to help you with your stress. No doubt about it. Okay, I know exams are coming up. People are like, help me, God. Just calculus, only one exam, and I will never ask for anything again. Don't make that dua though. Don't ask that kind of dua, because you will always be asking Allah for something. It's a very beautiful dua. Okay, this is a dua. I'll find it for you in like in the somewhere else, and I'll send it to Arham. And Arham, your job is to send it to the people. Please, Arham, sending me direct messages saying yes, Sheikh. Okay. Okay, inshallah. I wonder what device he's on, because he's only sending me direct messages, right? And he's not even his camera's not even connected. I'm getting very suspicious right now, Arham. ألا أعلمك كلمات تقولهن عند الكرب الله ربي لا أشرك به شيئا. Very beautiful dua that the Prophet sorry, ألا أعلمك no, ألا أعلمك, yes, it should be, it's not for the female. تقولهن عند الكرب. Should I not teach you words that you should say when you are in a situation of stress? The Prophet asked one of the companions, I can't remember who exactly it was, but the Prophet asked them, should I not teach you some words you can say when you're stressed? The words are, Allahu Rabbi. Allah is my Lord. La ushriku bihi shay'an. I don't associate any partners with him. Very beautiful dua, so simple. I tell you, try it when you're stressed. Try it when you're stressed. Don't say it if you can't think of the answer, because it will not give you the answer. The dua is not like a magic pill. You're like, I don't know how to solve this equation. Allah Rabbi. Still don't know. Because you have to prepare for the answer. But it will help you with the stress. It will help you with the stress, and it will put things in perspective more than anything else. How can Allah be most loving before He create anything? Since there was nothing to love. Oh, this is a deep philosophical question. Bank this one. Yeah, Arham, we have to look at this. Arham working overtime. Arham the goat, definitely, mashallah. Okay, I know it took a long time, but I really want you all to see this video. Please, if you can just give me a moment of your time. Oh wow, it's actually connected from PowerPoint, but we'll actually view it here. I will share sound. Or maybe sorry folks, 1 second. Let me configure this. Share sound, optimize for video clip. Allahu Akbar. Speakers. Okay, ready? This is a very good website, by the way, and an excellent YouTube channel called Many Prophets, One Message. Very, very good. When someone comes to learn about Islam and they're like genuinely interested, I often just refer them to these guys. They're so good, mashallah. Okay?
One of the most contested issues between Christianity and Islam is the crucifixion. The death of Jesus on the cross is taken by Christians as an almost indisputable fact of history. Yet, the Quran makes the bold claim that Jesus was not crucified. In this video, we are going to see that the Quran has a remarkable insight into biblical prophecy, which proves that the Messiah was saved by God. The New Testament reports the following encounter between Jesus and Satan. Then the devil took him to the holy city and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. If you are the Son of God, he said, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. Jesus answered him, it is also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test. Here, Satan tested Jesus with a diabolical challenge. Biblical prophecy foretold that angels will protect you, so prove it right by throwing yourself from a great height. Now, notice the response of Jesus. He does not accuse Satan of twisting scripture. Rather, he says, it is also written, which is an affirmation that the prophecy is indeed about him. Christian Bible commentaries confirm that the quoted prophecy is messianic. For example, The Jamieson, Fawcett and Brown commentary states, Jesus said unto him, It is written again, as if he should say, True, it is so written, and on that promise I implicitly rely. The Pulpit commentary states, The devil, appealing to Jesus' consciousness of abiding communion with God, bids him enjoy to the full promise of God's protection. John Calvin's commentary states, Satan is not wrong in proving from this passage that angels have been given to Christ to wait on him, to guard him, and to bear him on their hands. Let's now take a closer look at the prophecy applied to Jesus. It's quoted from the Old Testament book of Psalms. No harm will overtake you, no disaster will come near your tent, for he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. Because he loves me, says the Lord, I will rescue him, I will protect him, for he acknowledges my name. He will call on me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble, and I will deliver him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him, and show him my salvation. We can see that this prophecy in Psalm 91 mentions that Jesus will not be harmed, that the angels will guard him, and that God will rescue and deliver him. Now, this is where the prophecy gets even more interesting. We actually find the Hebrew name of Jesus, Yeshua, is the very last word in the prophecy. The Hebrew word Yeshua means salvation. So not only does this prophecy explicitly foretell a saved Messiah, it even foreshadowed his very name, Yeshua. It is clear that any claims of a crucified Jesus completely contradict this prophecy.
Like what he's trying to say is, Jesus accepted that prophecy to be true. And that prophecy is saying he will not be harmed. So if you were to accept the crucifixion, you've actually said that Jesus there was saying something that was not true, or he was affirming something that was not true. Interesting contradiction here in the belief system. Now let's watch something else.
Enter Augustine, an early church father, one of the greatest church theologians in history, discussed Psalm 91 in depth. Augustine fully acknowledged that the mention of the angels lifting up was in reference to Jesus. But when it came to those portions of the prophecy that are problematic from a Christian perspective, such as the mention of being rescued and protected, Augustine arbitrarily switched his interpretation to the church, i.e., the entire body of Christians. This is despite the fact that the entire prophecy is addressing a single person, which is demonstrated by its consistent use of pronouns in the singular, such as you, he, and him. This goes to show that even church fathers struggled when it came to reconciling Psalm 91 with the New Testament claims of a crucified Jesus. This is why they had to resort to twisting the prophecy. This is what the Quran says about the crucifixion.
وما قتلوه وما صلبوه ولكن شبه لهم وإن الذين اختلفوا فيه لفي شك منه ما لهم به من علم إلا اتباع الظن وما قتلوه يقينا بل رفعه الله إليه وكان الله عزيزا حكيما.
The Quran is crystal clear. Jesus was saved from the crucifixion, being raised up to God, alive and unharmed. These verses show remarkable insight when we analyze them in detail. The Quran's claim that Jesus was saved by being raised up perfectly mirrors the prophecy in Psalm 91, which foretold that Jesus would be saved by being lifted up by angels. We can see that what the Quran reports about Jesus is in fact the fulfillment of Old Testament prophecy that the Messiah would not be harmed. The foundation of Christianity is the crucifixion. For the Quran to come along nearly 600 years later and challenge it is quite bold. Let's consider this from a psychological perspective. If Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was a false prophet, then he would have just gone along with New Testament claims that Jesus was crucified. This would have made it easier for Christians to convert to Islam, so there would have been a lot to gain. But Islam is not about what is convenient, it's about the truth. The implications of the Quran's position are far-reaching and actually go beyond Islam. One of the reasons that Jewish people reject Jesus is because of the crucifixion. They know that the Messiah cannot be crucified, based on Old Testament prophecies that we have seen. The Messiah is supposed to be someone who will be victorious, so any claim that he was whipped, tortured, and died in humiliation is a contradiction. So, the New Testament claims that Jesus died ironically justifies the Jewish rejection of him. The Quran removes the stumbling block of a crucified Messiah and paves the way for the Jewish people to accept Jesus. Many have criticized the Quran and its audacity in challenging the New Testament crucifixion narrative. We have seen that it is in fact the New Testament accounts, written by anonymous authors decades after Jesus, which claim that Jesus was crucified, a complete contradiction of Old Testament prophecy that the Messiah would be saved from death. These prophecies are a vindication of the Quran's position and proof of its tremendous insight into the actual life and mission of the Messiah. To learn the truth about Jesus, please download your free copy of the book, Jesus, Man, Messenger, Messiah, from the link below.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you for watching. This is actually a really good book too. Has a lot, like this book has a chapter on this particular topic, where he speaks about all, or he documents more of this proof, like more of the evidences and whatnot are brought to support the claim that he's making in this video. And it's really, really fascinating to read that, inshallah. And if anybody who is like, like you have a Christian friend who is interested in Islam, and they're like, you know what, I'm not sure how you guys view Jesus, this book is excellent because it will actually answer their questions from a very scriptural perspective. And then always the answer is aligning with the Quran's view. And that is a very powerful way of teaching our Christian brothers and sisters about Islam. Especially those of them who are, maybe the Trinity doesn't sit well with them. They don't like some things that it doesn't sit so cleanly in their hearts, right? This, subhanAllah, is a very important teaching moment, inshallah, for them. Thank you. I took a lot of your time, but I appreciate you all. Jazakumullah khairan. May Allah make it easy for you with your assignments and finals that are coming up, inshallah. And next week we have the QA session. So I hope to see you all there. Jazakumullah khairan. Sallallahu alayhi wa Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Guys, you had a question or? Huh? Oh, the book is called Jesus, Man, Messiah, Messenger, right? And it's right here. Easa.org/Jesus. Inshallah. Okay. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.